Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today's video we are going to be reviewing the new Blend Bunny Sugar and Grunge palette, and I did pick up a 5-piece brush set just because I wanted to give them a go. This is my first purchase from Blend Bunny Cosmetics ever, so it's also going to be a first impressions of the brand. If you guys are new here, welcome. And I hope that you would consider subscribing and ringing that bell down below and changing it to all so that way you are notified every time that I upload a brand new video. Also, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. Jumping into today's video, we are going to be testing out the new Sugar and Grunge palette. That is a brand new launch by Blend Bunny Cosmetics. This palette retails for $41. It is genuinely a beautiful color scheme. The thing that I really like most about this palette is that it makes it very simple for the everyday user, or for, you know, if you're just jumping into makeup. Like everything, you have your lighter tones that progress into the deeper tones, and then you have your shimmers on the bottom. I will say that, you know, 90s rebellion, you got to kind of mix things up. I personally would have loved to have seen, which I've seen with many of the other palettes, is that, you know, same kind of concept. They put a gradients of lighter to deeper, and then they'll usually do the shimmers on the bottom that are cohesive. So therefore you just have to stick to a row and you can easily create a simple look that's very monochromatic. This palette, they switched that up, I guess. They decided to, rather than like putting butterfly in your row that is more geared towards like the bluey, greens, turquoise colors, they switched it. I don't know how I feel about that, but nonetheless, this is such a stunning palette. My inspiration for this palette was softer, sweet tones paired with their grungy deep counterparts. These colors and shimmers are frosty, pearly tones, a little muted, but deeply rebellious and still so sweet. Representing my little angsty 90s heart. Berry, wines, deep cool browns, teals, lavender, purples, grays, and grungy greens. These are the colors I remember most in our trending fashion choices, in our album covers, in our popular movies, and in our makeup. The shimmers are sparkly, gorgeous, and so good, like the All Done Up and Lure shimmers. Mattes are Blend Bunny mattes. If you know, you know. Also, there was 3 matte lip creams that launched with this collection that were very beautiful shades. They retail for $12 a piece. I did not happen to pick any up just because I already have lips that I could pair with this palette. But as always, we are going to do 2 different eye looks, and I'm just gonna stick with the monochromatic looks just because it's easier. And I do have places to go today. So I'm going to start by taking 1995 and I'm going to run that through the crease and just building up the color. I will say a lot of the different names in this palette are just very nostalgic. I grew up in the 90s, but I was born in 1993, so I was still a child when the 90s was going on. But I did have an older sister that I remember doing a lot of the different makeup trends, and let me tell you, I remember there being a lot of blues. So we're just taking the 1995 and running it through the crease, and then I'm going to bring it down, and like always I'm going to worry about blending more towards the end. And then I'm going to go in with this one that's made for the deepest shade and go into Garage Band, and we're just going to tap that into the outer corner and then up into the crease just a tiny bit. But more so I want this to be just a little bit more smokier, look more grungy. And then I'm going to go in with the white brush, which is meant for the lightest shades, and we're going to go into the shade Ironic, which is this green right here, and we're going to take that to blend everything out. I'm going to hold towards the end of my brush so that way I'm not applying too much pressure, and I'm just going to go over the edges of everything that we just did just to kind of blend that out a little bit more, but also laying down just a little bit new color. And I'm going to probably go back into the shade 1995 and just deepen that crease up just a little bit more, because it's looking very light to me. This shade is so pretty though, especially with that deeper shade. Back into 1995, I'm just again going to bring that in. I probably should have just went in with Ironic first and then put this down after, but it's gonna be okay. We're trusting the process here. I'm going to take the shade Grungy and we're gonna play that towards the outer part of the lid. Yeah, I think I might go in with the shade Butterfly just to make it pop in the inner corner. It's more leaning blue, but we're still just gonna brighten up just that inner corner portion a little bit. So this is the shade Butterfly. That's what we're gonna throw on. Oh yeah, yep, that's the one. I will say Grungy and butterfly look beautiful together. So I'm just gonna grab a little bit more of that Garage Band shade, tap it over where we put Grungy, just to further blend. That way we don't have a harsh line of where the shimmer meets the matte. And then I'm gonna tap it up into the crease just a little bit to bring a little bit more depth back there. And then dip back into Ironic, oh so slightly, and run that along the edge. And then I think I'm gonna do something different. I'm gonna go in more with this gray tone row and bring that up and underneath, just because I feel like the greens and the grays will work very well together. And so I'm going to go in with the shade Mixtape and take that up underneath and just bring that up under. So that is it for this eye look. So I'm going to learn from my mistakes with the first eye, and I'm going to step into Baby Tea, and we're gonna lay that one down first, and then we'll go in with the shade Detention after that. Speaking of detention, I have had detention a few times in my life because I could never stop talking in class. Could never stop talking in class, could never stop talking to my friends, could never stop talking back to the teachers. I remember actually one time I felt really bad because my friend was constantly in detention, and I was that kid that was like a social butterfly. So I once asked my teacher to give me detention so that way I could sit with my friend after school to be moral support. And the teacher actually said yes. Why? I don't know. So I literally requested to have detention just to hang out with a friend. That shade is so light but so pretty. Oh my goodness. So I definitely spent time in the detention hall. It was great. One of those times being because I wanted to. I don't know what kid asks to be put into detention, but I was that kid. Okay, so from there, we're gonna use shade Detention and just throw that into the crease as well. There is a lot of fallout in the pan. We're just gonna line underneath where we put that other shade, just to bring a little bit of depth in and get our line going with it, but blending as we go in small little circular motions. Okay, so from there, I'm gonna go back into Baby Tea and just further blend because it's wanting to just kind of stick down where I placed it and not really move all that much, and then go in with a fluffier brush and just kind of bring it up to give a little bit more shape. I am hoping that you guys all had a wonderful 4th of July. If you happen to celebrate, today is actually 4th of July, so we haven't done anything yet. Don't really know what we're going to do yet, but it's going to be fun. From there, we are going to go in with the shade Moody. And with Moody, we're going to do the same thing like we did on the green side with the shade Garage Band and just kind of stamp it on the outer and then bring it up just a tiny bit into the crease. So just stamping this. So I'm curious if the shade is called Moody because of the hype with the mood rings, or it's just because teenagers were really moody. So was music. I mean, music was very moody. But you know what? A lot of the best songs came from the 90s. So can't convince me otherwise. I don't know. There's a lot of good 80s music though too. Okay, so just bringing that in and blending. Small windshield wiper motions. So I'm going to go back in with Baby Tea, just because it's still the same color suit, and then it'll blend it a little bit easier. And this one's tending to give me just a little bit of difficulty, and I think it's just the primer that I happen to use underneath. So I'm going to grab a little bit of a setting powder, and I'm just going to use that to just try to further blend out that area, and just grab a little bit of setting powder. Sometimes if you have a difficult shade that doesn't want to blend, a little bit of setting powder is the way to go. Just because it's translucent, and that seems to be helping a little bit. And then from there, we're going to go into the shade Jawbreaker, which is the purple shimmer in the palette, and just tap. And like I said before, we will grab the deeper shade Moody and throw it over the top just to blend the shimmer, because right now, like, you know, if I were to leave that, then I have a harsh line right here. That's when you go in with that deep shade again, and it seems kind of counterproductive. Like, I could put on the shimmer first, but I like the way that it just builds up. So then from there, just like before where we grabbed a different shade Butterfly and put it next to the grungy shade, we are going to stick with Bubblegum, which is this very light pink, and we are going to lay that over the top on the inner corner. Also, I had heard that a lot of people were liking this shade as a highlighter. So I think we're gonna try that today. We're gonna put that to the test. Something about like a good pink, a soft pink from the 90s. I remember the soft pinks and the blues. It was always the soft pinks and the blues. And then like a good brown lip liner and brown lip. Okay, so grabbing Moody just a little tiny bit and stamping over that. And then blending. And there we go. And since we did something that was different on the bottom, I want to do that on this side. And I think I'm going to go in with this line right here, where we got Teen Spirit, Baggy Jeans, and Candy. We're going to go in with this row on the under eye. So I'm going to start by taking Baggy Jeans, which is the middle shade, and we're just going to run that under. I'm going to close my eye so that way I don't stab myself in it. And I'm just using a smaller blending brush to do that. And then I will take more of a compact brush and I'm going to go into Teen Spirit. So funny story, Teen Spirit, Kurt Cobain, before he was a part of Nirvana, to my knowledge and what I've heard from some stories, is that before I was ever in existence, my mom actually used to live up in Tacoma, Washington with my sister's dad, and he was very much into the music scene. So he knew a whole bunch of different artists before they were like ever famous. And Kurt Cobain used to like stay at this house. He would like, I don't know, I guess he would couch surf. So, you know, they ended up together. They used to jam and stuff. I guess Kurt Cobain once like tried to hit on my mom. Everybody else had passed out, and she was pregnant with my sister at the time. So, you know, she wasn't drinking or anything. But he really wanted to go hang out at the bar, I guess. You know, my mom was doing laundry. She said no, she wasn't going to a bar. She was pregnant. Fun fact, just fun knowledge. My mom said that she used to always give him crap for never washing his hair. His hair was very oily, I guess. So she used to always tell him to go take a bath. Okay, so from there we're going to go in with the shade Bubblegum, and we're going to try to use that as a highlighter because I think that the eye looks look very cute. So we're going to use this as a highlight and see how this performs, because somebody was saying that this would be a good highlight shade. That's actually kind of cute. I mean, granted, it's sparkly and it's shimmery, but that's what you get with a shimmer shade. It's kind of cute. I could see that. Yes. Okay. I mean, it's definitely sparkly, but sometimes you just need to be seen from outer space. And we're gonna take a little bit on the tip of the nose, and there we go. So now that we've completed the eyeshadow look, I'm going to go finish my eyes off camera, and then I will be back to give you my final thoughts. All right, guys, and I'm back. This is the final look using the Blend Bunny Sugar and Grunge palette. My thoughts are I'm going to be buying more things from this brand. It's gonna happen. This palette performed beautifully. I was able to utilize 4 of the different rows pretty much, because I did something different on the top and then something different on the bottom. Everything I played with was very good. The only shade that I had one issue with was Moody, but I mean, you're bound to have those problems with a purple shade, especially a deeper purple shade. And honestly, that really could have just been my base or the way that I applied it. I don't think it's necessarily the formula. I have heard nothing but great things about this brand and their efficiency to be able to basically blend away on their own as soon as you leave them on the eye. I'm excited to keep playing with this brand and trying out things and playing with this palette in particular. I love the colors that are in it. I mean, it does, to me, it does scream 90s. It reminds me of everything that I watched my older sister use growing up, or the looks that she would kind of create, the color schemes of it. I mean, a lot of the names are, they're awesome. And I did like that shade Butterfly as a highlight as well. I mean, it's a little bit more sparkly of a highlighter. And what 90s girl did not have some form of butterflies in their bedroom? If it wasn't butterflies, it was the dolphins. The dolphins were the one. I will say that every shimmer that I did play with, I played with 4 different shimmers today. The shimmers are gorgeous. The mattes were super simple to work with. These brushes, I might be picking up more of this brush set. This brush set is awesome, and it's really good for hooded eyes. So I'm excited to keep playing with those as well and exploring more things from this brand. The price points, I think the price points are definitely worth it. I mean, it is a smaller indie brand, so you will be paying just a little bit more. You're going to be paying shipping. shipping, you're going to be paying all of those things. But I think any day that you can support a smaller independent brand is a win, because smaller companies deserve that kind of love too. I will say that the outer packaging of this palette is, I don't know, I mean, you would go to your grandma's house, you would see somewhere with these florals. I mean, there was comforters with them, there was wallpapers with them. I will say that if you have been interested in a color story like this, if you have been interested in exploring the brand, it's well worth it. Go buy it, go pick it up. It's worth it. It's definitely worth it. I love the different tones. I love that you have some more cool tone options as well as some warm tones. A lot of the names, the shade names are just great. I'm sorry that I didn't read them all off. I'm sure that there's other videos out there that you can see, or just go to the website. I'm gonna leave the link down below of where you can go shop this collection, as well as everything else that I'm wearing on my face. So therefore, if you are curious about what I'm wearing, it's gonna be down in that description box. Again, I would like to thank you guys for watching this video today. Please make sure to remember to leave a thumbs up, to subscribe to my channel, to ring the bell, so that way you are notified every time that I decide to upload a brand new video. And I am so excited to see you guys in the next one.